Hi, and welcome to the process of death. This presentation is going to be broken up into multiple smaller sections to make it easier to understand. Indications of death. So, in other words, how can you tell a person has died? Typically, they are unconscious. They lose all of their reflexes. So, if you tap them in the knee, they're not going to kick. There's no reaction to painful stimuli. If a person is unconscious, there is a stimuli that you can use to rouse them if they are unconscious, and that's called a sternal rub, where you rub your knuckles into their sternum. It causes a significant amount of pain that will typically cause a reaction if they are still alive. Muscular flaccidity, so all of their muscles are lax. And then the obvious sign is the cessation or the stopping of their heartbeat and their respiratory movements. In the eyes, the ocular signs that you see within the eye, there is the loss of corneal or light reflexes, meaning that your pupil will not constrict or dilate with light or lack of light. Pupils are in a mid-dilated position, so they're not fixed in a constricted point and they're not fully dilated, but they're in a halfway position. Irregular size and shape of the pupils. One may be big, one may be small, but it's an odd pupil shape. Eyelids are usually fully open, or if they're closed, they're not closed completely. And then there is another thing called tache noir, or tache noir, where the sclera, which is the whites of the eyes, remains exposed, and two triangles of discoloration appear at each side of the cornea, and they're either brown or black, which I'll show you in a few slides. The postmortem ocular changes. The immediate signs in the eyes, you have dilated or fixed pupils, meaning they will be completely dilated or they will be non-moving. Okay, so they're in that mid-dilated section and they're not moving, similar to what this eye is in. Fully dilated, the pupil would be almost the same size as the iris itself, and then constricted, you would see almost no black for the pupil. The absence of the corneal or light reflex, meaning that they won't dilate or constrict. And then there's marked decrease in intraocular pressure. Later signs that you see are cloudiness of the cornea, which you can see right here. It's kind of cloudy. It's not a pure black dot. And then there's also an increase in potassium levels. This is tache noir, or tache noir. These are the black triangles or brown triangles that I was talking about. Okay. The eyes, if they remain open, you have this tache noir, and then you have a film that is observed over the cornea, which is what causes that cloudiness. If the eyes are closed upon death, so the person dies in their sleep, the cloudiness in the film won't show up until about 24 hours later. And there's an absence of intraocular fluid, or if there is an absence of intraocular fluid, so the vitreous humor of the eye is decreased, then that suggests that the person has been dead for more than 4 days. So when we determine when the person died, so what time did the person actually die at? This is an estimate. We use medical knowledge and scientific knowledge to estimate it, and it offers a certainty of a time frame, but you can't specifically identify a certain time. So it's impossible to be 100% accurate unless you have a witness that is present at the time of death, and that witness isn't a liar or isn't involved in trying to cover something up. If they're honest, that would be the only way to tell that the person died at an exact time. Otherwise, we generally estimate it as a time frame of 2 to 4 hours. So in order to estimate the time of death, we evaluate multiple different factors. to help us with that estimation. We look at algor mortis, which is the cooling rate of the body. We look at livor mortis, which is the fixation or the settling of blood. We look at rigor mortis, which is the stiffening of muscles, the different stages of decomposition, potassium concentration in the vitreous humor of the eye, the person's stomach contents, if there's any insect activity on or around the body, if there's any scene markers, so if there are newspapers or a clock that's broken, anything that could help identify a time frame, or if there's a witness who can verify time of death.